Hello, welcome to Moviemusters, review of Raising Kanan, the Thomas family unmasks. For real, Lulu has reached the lowest point. Throughout the season, we have witnessed the youngest Thomas brother go into a vicious spiral and essentially give up on living his life. Although he is still breathing, he has been trapped in a never-ending loop of pain and hasn't been living for some time. And while he's been attempting to avoid his family as well as his emotions, Power Book 3, Raising Kanan Season 3 Episode 9 put an end to that. Proud family of Power Book 3, Raising Kanan. At this time, everything that could be said about Lulu has been said. We've seen him battle. We've seen him fumble. He has put himself and others at risk, as we have witnessed. More than anything else, though, we have witnessed him pleading with people to assist him in silence. Episode 9 of Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, passed out. When Lulu felt as though his life was truly ending, you could see the anguish on his face and the hopelessness in his voice, even though it didn't look like he needed assistance when he was brandishing a gun at everyone. Every Thomas sibling is a proud individual. Even though they are aware of their shortcomings, they don't go around the town with placards that list all of their problems. I agree to receive targeted advertisements and emails. Lulu drank himself to death for an hour before Howard came to get him up. Then he went on clearing some of the stuff off his shoulders. But even confessing to crimes didn't make him feel better because he was unable to think clearly and couldn't accept what he had done because he had no support at all. For many people, admitting when you need help and asking for it can be very terrifying because it demands vulnerability. Furthermore, a lot of people believe that showing sensitivity equates to weakness, and that doing so could expose them to further heartache. Park Meetup, Episode 9 of Season 3 of Power Book 3, Raising Kanan. Without the support of those who care about you and want the best for you, it can be extremely difficult to face and defeat your demons. And he doesn't for Lulu. He feels vulnerable and alone, and he knows that he will never be able to escape the prison he has placed himself in if no one stands up for him. He doesn't want to die, but he feels like death. Was there anything more depressing than listening to Lulu cry out for his life over and over? The way he uttered Marvin's name was akin to a prayer, asking for some sort of peace. The situation in that car, hearing Lulu beg for forgiveness and for his brothers, can only be described as heartbreaking. I started crying when he begged Marvin not to be left alone in the cold. Malcolm Mays has devoted his entire season to Lulu, so it can't be simple to put yourself into that mindset constantly. But for 1 hour, he gave it everything he had on the field. Lackluster Episode 9 of Season 3 of Raq, Power Book 3, Raising Kanan. Raq was acting normally as he approached their brother, but man, I was expecting for Marvin to give in. Marvin and Raq were acting really stoically. Given how deeply sorrowful Lulu's cries were, I'm not sure how he didn't. Although Lulu was certain that he was being led to his demise, I don't believe that will be the case. In an ideal world, they're sending him to some secret location in the woods where he can receive treatment for his trauma, depression, and alcoholism without anyone asking any questions. A safe haven where he can be himself and work out his complex emotions toward himself and the people in his life without fear of reprisal. Though I've been deeply concerned for weeks about Lulu's safety, I don't think Raq and Marvin had a direct role in his passing. Although Raq has a cold heart, killing her brother, she is not Ronnie. Episode 9 of Season 3 of Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, on his last straw. Loud now that Raq and Marvin are functionally aware of the FEDs, Lu's ongoing decline posed enough of an issue to warrant his removal from the area. I've been curious about Howard's role in keeping Marvin under wraps, but when he confessed to withholding the information on purpose in order to make Marvin the scapegoat, all became clear. And darn it if Howard wasn't making some very fair arguments, even though Marvin is the MVP and doesn't deserve to lose for everything his family has been a part of. This task force will not disband. They have no intention of packing up their ball and leaving until they find the information that would finally make everything make sense. They will not stop clawing and crawling. To be honest, Marvin is a low-hanging fruit for them, but that's precisely what they want, because getting something on him may lead them to a whole criminal operation. Power Book 3, Raising Kanan Season 3 Episode 9, Ronnie and Joaquin face off. Howard's hands are so filthy that they will never be completely clean, and it's obvious that he's come to the realization that he could only divert attention and ignore problems for so long until it ceased to function. Howard has always put himself, Kanan, and Raq first in that sequence. Assuming he keeps his lips shut, Marvin, sensing the heat, leaves the three of them in the clear. It's easy to assume Marvin would, given what we know about him, especially in light of Gerald's betrayal. In every aspect of his life, Marvin has made an effort to improve himself and makes an effort to strengthen his bond with Gerald. He wasn't helping Gerald feel better about himself. He wanted to aid someone he thought of as a friend, and he did so because it felt right. Episode 9 of Power Book 3, Raising Kanan features the segment Famous Gets Jammed Up. The fact that Gerald was completely taken by surprise by Gerald's deception says it all. He felt they had developed a sincere friendship that benefited them both, so he was shocked to learn that Gerald was a snitch. There were countless instances during this hour when you couldn't help but feel terrible for those whose lives were coming apart all around them and who were totally unprepared for it. The idea that Gerald might go to jail confused Marvin more than the reality that Gerald wasn't actually his friend. Even though the FEDs don't now have enough evidence to imprison Marvin, they nevertheless pursue Jukebox in the wake of her breakthrough performance. One of those heartbreaking moments I mentioned was watching the joy drain from Jukebox's wings, because when Tanner walked in to take her away, she was just getting over the high of having realized a dream and seeing it all go up in smoke. Juke peeks out, Raising Kanan, Power Book 3, Season 3, Episode 9. Jukebox has a good voice, but she would never rat out her family by singing like a canary. Whatever you think of the Thomas family, I've certainly said enough. They don't slander one another, notwithstanding Lulu's occasional drunken outbursts. But Jukebox was more concerned about her future in Buddha being in peril than she was about her family perhaps being in trouble. The main attraction was Jukebox, but is it possible for the frontman of your budding R&B group to be involved in a federal investigation? You had to feel so bad for Jukebox because she was still thinking about the future and was quite enthusiastic about Buddha's potential. And there were a plethora of options. Everybody has pondered what would make Jukebox move in the direction of the chilly person we met during Power, who had changed completely from her younger self, becoming icy and cunning. And we have discovered a highly promising applicant. Episode 9 of Season 3 of Buddha Time, Power Book 3, Raising Kanan. Unexpectedly, Kanan attended Jukebox's performance. However, it's unclear if he was there to see Jukebox or Crystal, as he left before we could truly find out. Occasionally, you catch little glimpses of the former Kanan, such as the time he threw Famous a bone following Ronnie's attack. Nevertheless, they are brief moments because the next he's flashing his fangs and acting like a grown-up in a playhouse. Until one of them, Kanan, comes groveling back. There is no longer any chance for Raq and Kanan. And that will never occur since, similar to his family members, he would never allow it out of pride. It's fascinating to watch Kanan, who is so plainly angry at being misled and treated like a child, come to the conclusion that the best course of action is to emulate his mother. That desire to rise above the wrongdoers, whatever happened to that. Upset snaps. Episode 9 of Season 3 of Power Book 3, Raising Kanan. It was evident in that picture of him seated on one side of the table with the other three staring back at him that Kanan had backed himself into a complete corner with Snaps, Pop, and Ronnie. He previously took a side, but that side is now opposed to having any sides at all. Whether he likes it or not, Kanan finds himself back in the center as they aim for complete dominance. Kanan can put on a brave face and act as though he trusts Ronnie more than Raq, but he should be smart enough to realize that Ronnie can use him or her at any time. Raq is still his mother even if she deceives him, acts as she pleases, and has put him in some really terrible situations. And it never will. What choice will he make, his mother or his new business, if he is asked to make that call? However, this Kanan is not even old enough to vote. Though I think we can all agree that he will act in Kanan Stark's best interest, it remains to be seen what he will decide to do. He's turned into that kind of kid, and it won't change. Everything additional you should know. Episode 9 of Season 3 of Posted Up, Power Book 3, Raising Kanan. Stefano hasn't been seen in a while, but now that we know he's related to Pop, he needs to make a decision on the side of the war. Who is he going to support? Can Baptiste not be trusted? Howard is a master manipulator, but until Captain Burke dropped everything on his lap, did he truly never see the connection between Jukebox and Marvin? Howard danced around the truth like it was his profession, and he was prepared for those queries. It's going to be difficult to bring Howard down, though I'm beginning to wonder what his breaking point might be. The death of Gerald's daughter was shocking and heartbreaking. Sadly, it seemed inevitable that he would overdose after that hospital encounter because he sounded like a genuinely damaged man. Shanice, Paramus Shopping Center. It hurt that this episode was so 90 seconds. Jukebox and Isha Hang, Raising Kanan, Power Book 3, Season 3, Episode 8. There's only one episode left in Power Book 3 Raising Kanan Season 3. Without a shocking twist or a fatality in the conclusion, it wouldn't be a Power series. I detest to say it, but I'm betting that one famous won't survive this season. He's going to be somewhere at the wrong time, I have a feeling, and Kanan will be consumed by his death throughout. What major forecasts do you have for the last hour? Tell me in the comments section so we can talk about anything and anything, especially this penultimate episode. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.